One of the most amazing things that I have been able to experience during my 3-year tenure at Les Sunrays has been being able to walk with so many people, being able to show up consistently and be hopefully a reliable resource. One of the things that you can say about me is, with the exception of wigs that get changed out all the time, and also with the exception of lipstick, where I have my favorites and then I retire them and then they come back, is that I've been pretty consistent. I'm the same woman I was 3 years ago when I started Les Sunrays. I haven't changed. People would think I have. And with the recent mishigas that's going on, people would think that I've changed for the worse or that I've always been that charlatan cult leader so many people accuse me of being. Let's hit this head on. At the end of the day, there are a lot of people who don't trust me. Don't trust my ethos. Don't trust that if I have an ethos that I follow it. Don't trust my method. And at the end of the day, don't trust that I am a woman worth following. The fact that there has been traction speaks to that. I can't control that. All I can control is how I walk. All I can control is to be an effective mentor and leader for my staff and leadership team so that they too can walk with intention. All I can do is be the sort of woman that the community of Les Sunrays needs and deserves. I don't want to speak to how many people have either given credence or have left. There's been more than a few. It seems that people were sort of waiting for a reason to be able to walk away from what they said they believed in. Part of it was Holly, but also part of it was almost always, it really is too much. You ask a lot. I felt really guilty because I couldn't do all that you asked, and so I can't do this, and I can't be here with integrity. I think it's predictable that Holly provided a cover. And if the rest of you need cover, that's fine. 3 years ago when I started Les Sunrays, I had no idea how it was going to blow up. And if it goes back to 2018 levels, that has to be okay. If it winds up there's only 6 of us around my virtual chef's table, that has to be okay too. I can't be afraid of losing you. I can't be afraid that you will be swayed by, at the end of the day, the pipe bombs and the Molotov cocktails of a disgruntled intern. If you can be swayed by that, I am probably not the woman for you. I probably never was. And that's true. I need reliability. I need grown-ups. I need people who can manage their own slosh, and I need people who have the discernment to be able to see what I am giving you, whether or not it has validity or integrity, as opposed to 5 days worth of onslaught, period. I have had a lot of things aired out. So let's go at them one by one. I do have a husband with mental health challenges that I stay legally married to. He is in a group home in Northern California, and one reason I stay married to him is to make sure that I can be the best friend and advocate for him that I can be. That Holly decided to use that to weaponize it was kind of funky, but I stand by my decision. I made a promise in 1994, and I am keeping that promise, even to my own detriment, even if it means that I'm alone. And right now, that's exactly what it means. I'm not sorry that I offered Holly a position in summer of 2020. I'm not sorry that I offered to pay for her test prep and for her CPA. I'm not sorry that I offered to take a pay cut in my own salary so that I could afford to pay Holly. I'm not sorry I chose her. 7 months ago, I trusted my discernment. I trusted in her potential, but I knew that it could go either way. She chose not to walk with me in the way that was prescribed. She chose not to walk with my staff or leadership team. In 6 months, she never fully inculcated or even read the guidelines. She never read the 5 tenets. When it comes to women of color leadership, in the same way that Oprah is on the top of the masthead, but the majority of the people who work for her are not people of color, in the same way that that's true for a lot of other women of color, yes, Oprah worked hard in the 20 years that she has had Oprah Magazine to be able to inculcate and raise up from farm teams people of color, because we also have to remember that for years and years and years we weren't allowed to do some of this stuff, which means we needed to have farm teams. You don't just bring someone in cold as a board leader. They need to have a certain skill set, but what you do is you bring in that board leader and their job, their prime focus is to work themselves out of the job. And one of the things that we're doing at Lace on Race is bringing in people through the various tables, such as BIPOC, such as Black Diaspora, such as LGBT, to be able to bring them into farm teams and chef's tables so that they can mentor and be mentored and eventually be invited to sit on the board and to go into other leadership positions. We have thought about this hard. I know that the vast majority of my leadership identifies as white. That's because right now they work pro bono. And to be able to have people of color that I can actually pay, like an assistant here in San Diego, that would have been Holly, and I was willing to take a pay cut to make that happen. We need to be able to, if I offer them a job, that I can offer that for at least a year, that it can't be something that they're biting their nails over, like I bite my nails over making budget every single month. I need to be able to say, here's this, I can offer you 20 hours a week at $20 an hour, and I need to be able to keep that promise no matter what. We do that a lot. So whatever staffer I have needs to be in the same first fruits bucket as the Lace on Race Mental and Emotional Health Fund, as the 2 community partners that we always, always, always service from first fruits, whether or not we make budget. And that's something we need to talk about. Let's talk about the fact that since I decided to retire from the county and make Lace on Race my only vocation, financial engagement went down. So we can talk about bringing more people of color in, but this funding model depends upon you all keeping your promises. And as a group, that hasn't happened. And I do think that it has something to do with the idea that now it's very stark, very apparent, very overt that you're not just paying for the Mental and Emotional Health Fund, you're not just paying for community partners, you're actually paying for me. You're paying my salary and you're paying my health benefits. And a lot of people have a problem with that because one of the clenches of white women is that we don't do as well as you. It's one thing if I am shaking you down for money because of something that will not benefit myself. But when I am shaking you down for money, for raising my own support and ensuring my own health benefits, which I have to do, that's when it gets crazy. And you all know that since we give out of first fruits, the only person that will be negatively affected by a reduction in financial engagement will be me. And the majority of you all are completely okay with that. And we need to talk about that and talk about that plainly. You're right. We need more Black and brown leadership. We need this space to be a place where tired feet can stand, and that includes me. And I am not going to ask Black and brown people to weather a storm that I have to weather with absolutely no payoff. You don't have the right to ask that of me or of them. So if you want what you say you want, then you need to show up in a big way. You want Black leadership? You need to be willing to do what's necessary to ensure that it happens, and you need to do it reliably. Otherwise, it's just posturing. We'll talk more, but for now, that's done. We can consider this the early February ask, where you look at yourself, where you look at your clenches, where you look at your relationship with me, this woman that you sort of say you trust, but actually not so much. But maybe you do. Who knows? We need to talk about the relationship that we have with each other, and that you cannot exploit the fact that I'm going to be here day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. And you can't ask more of Black and brown people if you are not willing to stand up for them in material and metaphorical ways. I love you all. This was a tough talk, and there'll be more of it. This has been a tough week, but we're still standing. One of the things I'm grateful for is that the family that is funding the endowment that will allow us to have scholarships, that will allow us to think about 10 years and 20 years down the road, is that they've made a very strong statement of support. They're not going anywhere, but they do not cover our day-to-day. You do. So let's do it all. Let's do it all. 3 years ago, I couldn't conceive of this, but now, 3 years in, I can't conceive of letting it go. And the only way that I can do this is with y'all. Thank you in advance.